guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's episode, I am going to be talking to you guys about a few things to remember as a creative here. Just some insight that even I'm still learning to take and remember as a creative. And it is to solely create because it makes you happy. Now that sounds extremely simple and extremely cliche, but it's true. A lot of the time, some of us get trapped in that day-to-day social media craze where, you're comparing yourself to other influencers or creatives who are maybe doing well and you're wanting to do just as well as them. And one of the things that can easily happen to someone is you no longer are creating because you actually like it. Like, it becomes a rat race. It becomes, I'm creating because I feel that I need to impress a certain niche of people, or I'm creating because I'm expecting instant gratification from it. I'm expecting to get, crazy followers or a crazy amount of likes, or to go viral. And then once I go viral, I'm gonna become rich and famous. Like, trust me, as a creative, I understand exactly the intention that we start off with, but easily can go left into. So one of the things that I like to ground myself with is to create solely because you love it. I've been replaying that in my mind every day so far, and it's made me get back into the routine of actually doing art because I love it, not because I'm expecting something from it. I'm doing it only because I want to, because I like it. Yes, as creatives or artists, we want to shed light on what we do, obviously, and some of us want to make a living from that, right? Like, duh. Some of us have dreams and hopes to just be able to live off of our crafts and our passion, and it is very possible, but it's also important spiritually and emotionally and mentally to ground yourself, because then you can get stuck in a rut where you're not able to pull inspiration anymore because you're not in a flow state. You're just doing it because you're trying to do it for another reason. Create because you want to create, not because you're expecting to gain love or acceptance from it, or you'll always be chasing it. Always. Again, we live in a world full of social media where it's very easy to look at the next person beside you or in your field and be like, well, why are they getting all the likes and all the things, and I do this better than them, or I've been doing it longer. Don't worry about it. Everyone has their own timing, their own path, their own blessings, their own opportunities that are supposed to come to them when they're supposed to come to them. You don't know what they did to get that. You don't know what they went through. You don't know if it'll last. You don't know if it's not even authentic to them. Like, we live in a world where everything is it's put on social media, and we really don't know, like, what is, like, who is who? How do you act in real life? Who are you in real life? What do you, like, all of these questions and things that will tell, time will tell who's who and what's real and what's not. But you don't know what the person next to you that you're looking at and feeling like, oh, how come I don't got it like that? Like, don't worry about it. Yes, I understand sometimes that can be very frustrating, but don't look that way. Stay on your path. Keep your eyes on your own road. Don't do things because you're trying to seek people's approval. You're now working from the outside in versus the inside out. Everything that you do should come from the inside out because it's the deepest part of you, especially as a creative. When you create, that is the deepest part of your spirit that you're connecting with, the highest source. So you shouldn't be doing it the reverse, because how would you? Like, how would you be able to create outside looking in? You'd just be pulling inspiration from, you can pull inspiration from a bunch of things on the outside and follow trends and this and that. It is a piece of it, but if you really want to always have that energy and always have that spirit and always have that artistic flow, it comes from the inside. It does not come from the outside. And a lot of the time, if you keep trying to do things from the outside in, you're going to be setting yourself up for failure. One of the quotes that I wrote based off of this as well was, Do not attach yourself to the outcome, as this is where the unattainable root of perfection lies. We try to work towards the vision of perfection, and this is what causes the creative blocks and paralyzation to act on our creative ideas. When we let go of the idea to control and have faith, anything you do in this state of ease will come out just the way it needs to. Trust me, I have been down that rabbit hole. I will speak for myself. I've been in predicaments where I've been maybe having a creative block, and it's because I was trying and thinking so hard about maybe a trend that was in or a type of aesthetic that I was like, okay, this is popular. Let me really try to hone in on that. And it's like, no, that wasn't really working after a while, because what happened was it wasn't true to my identity. That's also what's important, staying true to your identity. And the only way you can stay true to your identity is working from the inside out. Whatever's in here, create with. Don't try to morph and mold yourself into something that you're not, to fit something, because we live in a world where there is a lot of redundant things, and of course in fashion and other things like that, things can only be warped so much because everything has been done in history before. But if you add your own flavor to it, your own flair, your true self to whatever it is that you're creating, trust, it will be received that way. The universe, God will grant you that, and the people who need to see that will see that, and they will be so drawn to, and it's because it's authentic to you. It's uniquely you. And when you stand confidently in your own worth, respect will always follow. People will always acknowledge that. They'll always feel that. They'll always be drawn to you, because it will no longer be, again, working from the outside in, it's the inside out. So it will be you. It'll be your aura. It'll be how you carry yourself. It'll be your energy. It'll be your vibration, and it'll be expressed through you, and people will feel that. People will feel that when they speak to you, and even if they don't speak to you, if you are creating that way, they will feel that when they see your work as well. I read this blog, actually, excellent blog for someone who may be having creative block, and it said that imagine that there is an art apocalypse where you're the only person around and you're the only one capable of creating art to fill this world. So there's no one in the world, and you are the only person who has full control over what art is created. There's no art that exists anymore. Everything's gone. What would you create? With no one's judgment. No one can judge you because no one else is there except for you. It's the apocalypse, so ain't nobody there. You have full control to create. What would you create? What are the things that you would bring out of your spirit from just finally giving up caring about what people think? Another thing I like to remind myself of is it's a tough pill to swallow, and sometimes you gotta be real with yourself. But why are you seeking certain validation and certain gratification in the first place? What is the reason that you're seeking that? And once you can answer that question for yourself, you'll really have an idea of what path you need to take and what you're even doing it all for, because that's the most important thing that a lot of us creatives forget, and a lot of people in general forget. Why do you do what you do? Why do you want what you want? Get grounded in your goals, what you want for yourself. Get grounded on the whys. Because if you don't know why you're doing something, or why you're becoming the way you're becoming, or why you're hanging out with the people you're hanging out with, or why you're trying to get your foot in a certain door, you're not gonna really get anywhere. You may get somewhere, but that's how a lot of people tend to feel lost. And it can feel like you're floating after a while. It can feel like, literally, I'm floating in La La Land right now, because you're not grounded to anything. You don't have any roots of why you're actually trying to pursue this thing, or trying to turn your life around into this type of lifestyle. And it's something that I have been journaling consecutively for years, and sometimes things will change. Sometimes it'll become a shadow work session where you're unpacking things that you're like, oh, my roots were kind of all twisted and I didn't understand why I was even wanting this. And now that I've untwisted the roots and I've worked through it, I understand that I don't even want it anymore. That's not even what I care about in the first place. That was never really the goal in the first place. What happens to some people also is they get amazing opportunities, they get the job, they get the opportunity, they get to work with the celebrity, and then they still don't feel fulfilled. And why is that? There's a lot of reasons that could be, but one of the reasons that I found myself feeling that way was because I wasn't rooted in what I actually was trying to obtain and what I wanted big picture wise. It was like, okay, you're getting this, you're getting that, but then now what? You know, like now what? Okay, what should I do next? What's the next thing that I need to do to get this? And then it's like, okay, wait, why did you do it in the first place? Did you want something from it? Were you expecting followers? Were you expecting sales? Were you expecting, like, what were you expecting out of it? Why? And the more that you ground with that and figure out why, the more you'll feel a lot more confident in what your purpose is, following your passions, following your dreams. You're just gonna feel a lot more clear-minded, and you'll be able to separate what actually matters. You'll be able to separate, okay, this is what I need to add into my daily routine. These are the type of people I need to be around. These are the type of people I need to talk to. These are the things I need to hear. These are the things I need to see. You'll get more aware of what it is that you actually need in your life right now. So yeah, sit down with yourself and get to the nitty-gritty of things. Like, one of the questions I asked myself recently was, who are you without your talent? I'm someone who is multi-talented, and I like to dabble into many different fields of the arts, and I wanted to just get a better understanding of why I even started to do so much art in the first place. So I asked myself, who are you without your talent? Are your talents your identity, or are you more than just your talent? Are people only seeing you as your talent and they don't really know the real you? Or like, what is it? Ponder on that question. You can journal it. That's something I did, and it got really deep, and a lot of things went like ding 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 ding. So I asked myself that question, and then I asked myself, who do you want to be? Because sometimes we have bad habits and things within ourselves that we obviously want to change, and it helps to kind of pinpoint, like, who is it that you want to be? Is there someone you know that you look up to and you're like, wow, they're just great? Or are there little traits that you're like, you know, I would like to be a better listener, or I would like to be more empathetic, or I would like to be more authoritative, you know, like be stern in what I say. Like, who do you want to be? And it's interesting because a lot of things that are outside of being creative and are more emotional and mental actually tie into your creativity. Now, as an artist, most of us, we work. I'll say for myself, I started art young, but a lot of time when I was doing art, it was an outlet. It was an outlet for emotional things that I was going through, whether it was, you know, depression, or even if I was happy and I was just like, I'm in a good mood, like I feel like creating, I feel like dancing, I feel like singing. It's an outlet of some sort, and that's how most of us creatives are. But what I learned was that for me personally, during my journey of being an artist, there was only so much art that I could create from my experience. Now, I've been through a lot, just as many of us have, especially with the state of the world and, you know, just life in this generation. But I say that to say, what I was running into was I was so burnt out, even with all of those experiences where people are like, oh, create from them, and you know, you've been through all these things and use it as your outlet. And while I was using it as an outlet a lot before, it just was too many layers to work through at a certain point where I was like, I can't even create anymore. Like, I can't even find enjoyment with creating anymore, because even when I was creating, I still wasn't dealing with certain things to the core, which was interrupting how I viewed myself and how I worked as an artist. You know, I was very like blasé about everything. I took a long hiatus from creating where I was just like, nothing's working, nothing's giving, nothing is exciting me, like I don't feel like doing this. Like, even when I would start a project, I would stop in between and be like, what am I, like, why am I doing this? And that's because I was literally like, there was a couple of things going on. I was, number one, dealing with some things internally that I maybe didn't realize were interrupting creative flow. And then I was also still holding on to a certain identity of who I was as a creative in my past. And as we grow and evolve, there are certain seasons for certain things. There will be certain things that you did back in the day that maybe don't work now as an adult. Maybe when I was sad, I used to draw a lot, but now when I'm sad, drawing doesn't really do it for me anymore. Like, things change as you grow, and that is entirely normal. And I have always been tied to art, but as I'm going through my evolution, I'm learning that it doesn't always have to be an emotional thing. It doesn't always have to be, oh, I went through something so terrible and now I'm gonna create art from it. It could be, you know, I'm feeling excellent today and I feel so free because I'm finally working through certain things in my life that for some reason I'm getting this creative flow. And that's essentially what happened. A lot of journaling, a lot of shadow work, a lot of talking it out with, you know, people who are around me and things like that. All types of things that will always be a work in progress that really did help me as a creative and are still helping me today, because every now and then my brain gets a little, wait, what am I doing this for again? And that is normal too, but your time will come, and when you work from the inside out, things will always work in your favor. When you are authentically you, things will always work in your favor. When you do that shadow work, when you're healing, when you're on that journey to growth, and when you're willing to learn and you're not being so stubborn and hard on yourself, things will always work in your favor. The more stubborn and hard, the more resistance you're gonna face. And a lot of the time what people do with resistance is, it's not working, so let me try harder, let me work harder, let me stay up longer, let me make myself go crazy and think that that's the answer. If I just work hard enough, it will, like, that's not always the answer. Sometimes you hit the bump in the road, that resistance, because you need to take a pause. You need to take a pause, you need to take a break, you need to take a breather and figure out, what am I doing right now? Why am I doing right now? What do I want? What do I need? Do I need certain people around me right now? Do I need to maybe not do this? Maybe that's not what I need to focus on. Maybe I need to focus on my actual physical health. Maybe something's going on there that's also impacting it. Everything is connected. That is something that, trust me, I have also learned. That was my little message for today. It's something that I have been heavily, pondering on this week, and I thought that I would share that with you all. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and you take a little bit of this insight and apply it. And also just let me know if you guys have any tips for me or you want to share them. This is a community I want to build where we're all just vibing, like we're all learning this together. I'm still learning, so definitely feel free to leave your thoughts, and I hope you have an amazing day.